Hi again. Mentioned on the Facebook group that I'd make a video showing how I made this vase. It's actually a lot simpler than it seems at first. What we have is a model, and I'll link the thingiverse. I'll put the thingiverse link in the description. You see what it is a vase file that's broken into 12 segments. Each one of these stripes is a different segment. And what I did here was I grouped every other one together and then applied a different gradient to each set. This was printed on the A10T, blue, red, and yellow filament. So one gradient's going to start at blue, it'll fade up to purple, then to red, and the other one starts at yellow, fades into green, and ends in blue. Worked out pretty neat. There's all kinds of different things you can do with this model, and either the M models, 2 or 3 extruders. But for now, this quick little dirty video will just pay attention to this gradient. This was done in S3D, so we'll start with that one. So first thing we want to do is load 12 STLs. Select all. Align model origins. And then we want to group the selection so we can come over here and rotate, standing upwards, standing upright, drop model to table, and then center. Now we're going to come back and ungroup so we have access to each individual stripe. So we'll come over and select Well, darn it, this worked for me a minute ago. I don't know why it's not now. What we'll do is we'll start here and then just shift select each one. Alright, now we want to group those. Then we'll come back over and do the same thing on the opposite set and group those. So now what we'll be able to do is take and make all these stripes into one process, put all these stripes into another process, and print them as if it's a 2-color model. So we'll go check our settings before we add another process, so we don't have to go change all our settings for both processes. Everything here is already going to be all set up. Layer, we're going to print. Now, go back. We have to do here. No, we don't want to do that yet. Cancel. Just check all the general settings. Prime layer height that you want to print at, number of shells. I just used 2 shells with this with no infill. If you're going to print it bigger or want it stronger, you might want to use more outlines. Additions, yeah, we need a prime pillar because we need to be able to purge in between the different colors, different gradients. And no infill, speeds, you know, I'd print this down around 40 millimeters per second. Everything else is going to pretty much stay the same for the moment. So we're going to go back now and add another process. Now this process will have all the same settings as we had in process 2. It's just a copy of that. The only thing different now we're going to do is we're going to go in here, select models, and this is process 2, so I'm going to take the even numbered models, select none, and just come down here and select all the even numbered models, click OK, and we'll do the same thing for process 1 and choose all the odd numbered. There. Okay, so this is just as if we were going to do a 2-color model. I know process 1 is going to print with tool 0, and we want to use tool 1 for the other, so we select in layer, additions we leave. We're not using infill, but we're going to set that anyway. If you were doing a 2-color model with infill, you'd want to set the correct extruder for each. Okay, so now we're just going to go in here really quick, hit prepare to print, select all. If you get this error, selected process not configured for the number of extruders, just click yes. I don't know why it does that, it always works. And when it gets finished here, we just want to check, okay, I've got something wrong. No, I'm setting an active tool head. There we go. Okay, so that's going to work correctly, our separate colors. So go back, excuse me, and show you how to do the gradient. So that gradient is done with the M166 command. This will only work if you have Marlin 2. This will not work this way or with this M166 command in stock Marlin. Over in the tool change script, you can see we have, if new tool equals 0, then use this M166 command. If new tool equals 1, use this one. So in other words, when it changes from one to the other, from tool 0 to tool 1, it'll come down and use this gradient. If it's switching into tool 0, it'll use this gradient. And I've got another video on my YouTube channel showing you how to use M166, but just a quick recap. M166S1 just enables the gradient. A0 means that the starting Z height for my gradient is going to be 0 millimeters. Z100 means that my gradient is going to end or finish at 100 millimeters. I'm going to start with tool 0 and end with tool 1. Now if we were switching to process 2 where we're using tool 1, start at 0, end at 100, but then it's going to start with tool 2 and end with tool 0. That's it. That's what makes that gradient, those two separate gradients happen. And put this in both processes, and that's it. That will make those two separate gradients on that vase. I think we can do this with Cura as well. I'll be honest, I have not tried it, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. We won't need all of this. Let's go look at Cura and I'll show you where to put that. You'd do the same thing in Cura. You'd set up the model the same way and select which extruder to use for which stripes. Go into settings, printer settings. Now with Cura we would put the M166 command in the extruder start script. You see I've already written it in here from a previous try at this video. So anytime you start to use extruder 1, this gradient will be active, and extruder 2, do the same thing with the other M166 command. Again, I have not tested it, but I don't see any reason this won't work as long as you're using Marlin 2 firmware. Let's go back to S3D real quick. If you wanted to, instead of doing gradients, you wanted to just print this as a multicolor, you can do that. Just ungroup everything here. You'd think I know the keyboard shortcuts by now. So you can take, if you wanted to do it, if you had A10M or A20M, any of the M models, or just wanted to do two colors, you could do the same thing. Print one set one color, one set the other color, or any number of combinations here, and just set your colors accordingly, however you wanted to do it. You could do, if you get the right filaments, you could do 12 separate colors, but I'd probably top it out at 6 different colors, so you could have what would that be? 6 colors, It's only 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. So each color would have a single stripe. Just putting in the start script your virtual tool for the mixing, and then have a process for each set of stripes. All kinds of things you could do with it, but I mainly wanted to show you how I did the gradient on that vase. I'll see if I can't do some more, because I know there's a lot of people asking about how to do this stuff. Maybe I'll do some more planned out, better thought out videos instead of this quick and dirty thing, but hope that explains how I went about this. Have fun.